"71 Chinese planes are spotted around Taiwan as China says it's conducting large-scale strike exercises around the island." The military has promoted new top officers, including the country's first ever woman lieutenant general. Taiwan's recently elected local officials are now starting their terms. That includes nearly 8,000 neighborhood chiefs, a role unique to Taiwan. Christmas under siege. Ukrainians celebrate the holidays on December 25th for the first time as an act of defiance against Russia. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Leslie Liao. 71 Chinese warplanes and 7 naval ships were spotted around Taiwan over the weekend. That's the highest number ever recorded. The drills come as Beijing accused the U.S. and Taiwan of, quote, collusion over a defense bill supporting Taiwan's defense. Jaime Okan has more.
Chinese warships and fighter jets practicing for war in the waters and air around Taiwan. This footage was posted on social media by China's Eastern Theater Command, which is responsible for operations near Taiwan. Taiwan reported 71 Chinese military aircraft and 7 warships operating near the country over a 24-hour period this weekend, the highest single-day number to date. It's part of a pattern of what Taiwan's defense ministry calls destabilizing behavior.
中共的所作所为，即使是再次凸显了用武力解决分歧、破坏区域和平稳定的这样一种心态。
China says Taiwan is part of its sovereign territory and frequently threatens the use of military force to follow through on its claims. That's despite Taiwan never having been ruled by the People's Republic of China. China's defense ministry said the drills are a, quote, firm response to the current escalation of provocations by the U.S. in collusion with the Taiwan authorities. It follows the passing of the National Defense Authorization Act by the United States Congress. The act allocates $10 billion in security assistance and fast-tracked weapon sales to Taiwan. The U.S. is a major supporter of Taiwan's international space and provides almost all of the island nation's military hardware. China's foreign ministry was quick to denounce the new law.
我们坚决抵制美国的错误对华政策，推动探索中美正确相处之道。面对美方执意把中国作为最主要竞争对手，大肆围堵打压挑衅，致使中美关系陷入严重困难，中方采取坚决行动，反制强权霸凌，同时开诚布公沟通，指明正确方向。
China's increased military activity has put the spotlight on how prepared Taiwan is in the case of a Chinese invasion. President Tsai Ing-wen is set to chair a high-level national security meeting on Tuesday to discuss the country's civil defense. She is expected to announce a long-mooted extension to conscription, raising compulsory service from the current 4 months to 1 year. It's a move analysts say is needed to convince Washington that a commitment to Taiwan's defense is worthwhile.
我的观察是，第一个，自由不是一个免费的午餐，所以台湾会愿意付出这样的一个军事的一个负担，来保护自己，也保护我们盟友的这个安全。
Chinese military activity around Taiwan has become a new normal over the past few years as Beijing flexes its muscles. But today's record report is a reminder that the threat is anything but normal. Howard Tsang, Rick Glowert, and Jaime Okan for TaiwanPlus.
For more on the recent incursions and the significance of the U.S. National Defense Authorization Act, our reporter Jaime Okan spoke to Ben Lewis, an independent defense analyst based in Washington, D.C.
The United States has signed this National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, which includes almost $10 billion for funding for Taiwan to modernize its forces. How significant is this?
I think it's quite significant. I mean, major parts of $2 billion of the fund is in loans. So Taiwan will be able to expedite its weapons acquisition, which I think is very significant. And then just the amount of money we're talking about, that's a lot of capabilities that Taiwan can acquire. And I think it's definitely the right move by both the United States and Taiwan to have agreed on something like this. And for it to come at this time when Taiwan needs to be acquiring these capabilities because the PLA is acquiring capabilities. So I think it's very significant, and I think it's really a step in the right direction in the U.S.-Taiwan relationship.
China's government released a statement saying that they disapprove of this collusion between the United States and Taiwan. And how have you seen China react so far?
China's reaction has been pretty significant, in my opinion. I mean, despite, in addition to the strong words, there's been a major military exercise somewhere in the Taiwan Strait area, we don't know where, involving naval and air assets. And then today, 71 aircraft were tracked around Taiwan, and 47 of those aircraft were tracked inside the ADIZ, which is the third highest number in one day on record, and it's the highest number in one day since August of 2022. Another note about the ADIZ violations today was we had the highest number of median line crossings in one day. So we had 37 median line crossings out of the 47 aircraft. So that was a large number of median line violations, mostly fighter aircraft. In addition, we had special mission and support aircraft and 2 UAVs counted among. So a diverse set, not as diverse as we had last week, but a large number, and definitely a notable fact that it was such a large number of median line violations.
What specifically do you think upset China the most about this Defense Authorization Act?
Well, I don't think it was the money. I think it was the fact that the bill opens up for Indo-PACOM to conduct multilateral military exercises with Taiwan, multi-domain military exercises. It talks about inviting Taiwan to Rim of the Pacific in 2024. It, in addition to providing funds, it puts the Taiwan-U.S. relationship front and center for America's priorities in the region. And that's a very dramatic shift. And I think it's something China is definitely concerned about, because that means that if this relationship continues to develop, President Biden has said America will come to Taiwan's defense. It seems as if China's going to have to calculate, okay, if I choose to invade Taiwan, I may be fighting the United States, I may be fighting Japan, I may be fighting South Korea or Australia. That increases the risk. It increases the needed capabilities. It increases the cost. And so China, I mean, if I was China, I'd be unhappy too, quite frankly.
That was Jaime Ocon speaking with Ben Lewis, an independent defense analyst based in Washington, D.C. With China's military threat on the rise, President Tsai Ing-wen may be about to announce extended periods of military conscription. She is scheduled to hold a meeting on the subject with national security officials on Tuesday. An announcement could be made shortly thereafter. Her administration has been considering increasing mandatory military service for young men from the current 4 months to 1 year. The military recently also announced extended, more intensive basic training for recruits. These measures are in response to China's increased military threats against Taiwan. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen has presided over a ceremony held to promote numerous military officers. 28 officers received a promotion at the event on Monday. This included Chen Yulin, Taiwan's first ever woman lieutenant general. President Tsai told the service members that they face growing challenges with rising authoritarianism threatening regional security. But she also expressed confidence that Taiwan could step up to meet such challenges.
我们越是做好准备，企图侵犯者冒进的几率就越小。我们越团结，台湾就越强大，也会越安全。
Taiwan's new local leaders elected in November were sworn in on Sunday, with some areas now being governed by women for the first time. This includes Pingtung County Magistrate Zhou Chunmi of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party and Nantou County Magistrate Xu Suhua of the main opposition Kuomintang. Hsinchu City's first woman mayor, 38-year-old Gao Hong'an of the Taiwan People's Party, is also its youngest mayor ever. It's unclear whether Gao will be able to see out her term in office, as she is currently under investigation for corruption during her time as a legislator.
我们一样，就是勇敢的去面对，然后对于任何的检调司法的程序，我们都绝对尊重，全力配合。那对于新竹市政，我绝对也不会浪费每一分每一秒，全力的来拼新竹市政。
Continuing with news about new leaders taking office, November's local elections went all the way down to the grassroots level with a role that is unique to Taiwan, the neighborhood chief. To learn more about these community leaders, TaiwanPlus reporter Jeremy Olivier went to meet the head of his own local neighborhood in Taipei.
This local leader is an essential part of the southern Taiwanese city of Kaohsiung. He's not a city councilor, but a neighborhood chief, or lizhang in Chinese. There are nearly 8,000 lizhang across Taiwan, making it the most numerous elected position in the country. But what does a lizhang actually do?
They're sort of like liaisons with different parts of the bureaucracy for all kinds of purposes, whether that's welfare. Sometimes they do a little work related to the household registration system. Police will come to them for consultations about this or that, or problems with crime in the area. So they do things on behalf of the government, but really they see themselves more typically as standing for the neighborhood and being the focal point for the neighborhood.
The lizhang role has a long history in Taiwan. Its roots can be traced all the way back to the baojia system of local governance in imperial China. That system grouped communities into units of 100 households, or bao, which were broken down into 10 10-family units called jia. This arrangement was adopted by the Japanese during their control of Taiwan in the early 20th century, and the Kuomintang government continued it when they arrived in Taiwan in 1949 after losing the civil war with the Chinese Communist Party.
But over time, it evolved into something much more that is now today, as much bottom up as it is top down. That there really is society serving in many respects, as well as a creature of the state. So it's this highly statist system, and yet it's adapted to a democratic society.
As I was reporting this story, I realized that I had never met my own lizhang, even though I've been living in the same neighborhood for over 2 years. So I decided to pay her a first visit and get a better idea from an actual lizhang what their daily job is like.
Hey, 里长，你好，你好。你好，你好。哎，高兴认识你。你要不要请坐？请问你有什么事吗？好，谢谢，谢谢，谢谢。
Ding Hezhen was re-elected in November's local elections for a third four-year term as the head of Liao in Taipei's Xinyi district. She's lived in the area her entire life and has witnessed it change over time.
喂，你好。是。
其实我们这边早期这边是一个迁建基地，就是说从别的地方政府需要这块地来整建，然后有居民把它迁到这边来。那这边呢，以前是1、2层楼，一个老社区。那有的人就是慢慢的，他就是自己去盖，把它重新翻修、整修这样子。之前的房子比较不牢固啊，那后来慢慢的，就因为老旧嘛，所以大家就从地基重新再盖过来，这样把它盖起来。对。
Ding has had many big accomplishments during her time in office. For example, she built a small garden and rest area for residents next to the neighborhood temple. She also installed this traffic light at the entrance to a busy street.
我们这边早上要上班的啦，或者是买菜的，都是有一些长辈啊，或者机车主，常常在这个路口都会出车祸。所以我上任的时候，我就一直争取这边要用红绿灯。后来因为那边前面有一个红绿灯，警察局是说，这样子距离太近了，会妨碍那个他们的车流量，就不愿意弄。我就一直努力到5年，第5年的时候。他们才答应我们去做这个红绿灯。
Ding also frequently organizes activities for the neighborhood. And for a role that is traditionally male-dominated, around 70% of lizhang elected in Taipei in 2018 were men. Ding stands out as a woman in her position. She sees this as a strength.
当然有一些小部分的细节。就譬如说要处理一些大事件或是干嘛的出众的工作，当然女孩子还是会比较吃亏一点啊。但是现在的民主意识抬头了，不分男女。你看我们的总统就是女生啊，对，也是有能力的啊。
Ding says she's always looking for ways to make her neighborhood a better place for residents. That, she says, is the basic duty of a lizhang.
嗨，你要去哪里？哦。 早安，都在旁里的晒太阳，有看好不？
Patrick Chen and Jeremy Olivier for TaiwanPlus.
A fire at an industrial park in New Taipei has injured a firefighter and destroyed nearly $500,000 worth of music and performance equipment. The blaze broke out in Bali district on Sunday evening and gutted several buildings. One of them was a warehouse used by Taiwan's internationally renowned Jew percussion group. The group says the fire destroyed their props and sets, their video archives, and some of their instruments. Firefighters don't yet know how the fire started. It took 150 of them nearly 2 hours to put it out. A local fire brigade chief says one firefighter suffered burns.
防护同仁都会涉水冷却这个火场，可能在这个涉水的同时跟高温的燃油这混的造成这个燃气那个爆出造成同仁的受伤。
Coming up, Taiwan welcomes its first fully electric haulage truck. But will it help solve the country's pollution problems? Find out after the break.
In the face of adversity, the power of truth.
A roadmap for a just and open world. Charted by the freest country in Asia.
5, 4, 3, 2.
A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Ian Kavat. Taiwanese semiconductor giant TSMC.
Public buses to be electric by 2030.
A mission that begins with listening.
And telling the stories of Taiwan.
In Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Drawing insight from original thinkers.
And sharing it with the world. TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. For more stories from here in Taiwan, please download the TaiwanPlus app.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. The man accused of killing former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is competent enough to stand trial. That's according to Japanese prosecutors. 42-year-old Tetsuya Yamagami was apprehended after Abe was fatally shot with a homemade firearm in July. Abe was giving a public speech in support of a member of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party in the city of Nara at the time. Local prosecutors carried out a psychiatric evaluation to determine whether Yamagami was mentally fit to stand trial. His detention for medical examination will end on January 10th, after which he is expected to be indicted. In Ukraine, people continue to endure the winter months amid the ongoing invasion by Russia. But in an act of defiance against their attackers, this year many Ukrainians celebrated Christmas Day a bit earlier than usual. Ryan Kilpatrick has more.
It's a holiday season with many firsts. As Russia's invasion of Ukraine approaches its first anniversary, Ukrainians have had to spend the festive season with their country under siege. But this year, in a rejection of Russian influence, many decided to break from standard practice. For the first time, a number of Ukrainians chose to celebrate Christmas Day 2 weeks earlier than they usually would.
Цьому році вперше ми застановилися так в сім'ї, що потрібно святкувати те, що святкує весь світ, і не відмежовувати себе від цілого світу. Ось і в цьому році ми хочемо так спробувати.
Most Ukrainians traditionally celebrate Orthodox Christmas on the 7th of January. That's where it falls according to the Julian calendar, which is also followed in Russia. But now, many Ukrainians are distancing themselves from this tradition and chose to celebrate Christmas on the day that coincides with the West.
Тому що ми проводили збори громади, де було питання поставлено напряму, чи підтримує громада святкування 25-го, як альтернативну можливість, додаткову. І більшість людей проголосували, підтримали цю ідею, тому ми відзначаємо Різдво саме тому, що це є прагнення більшості наших громадян.
In a televised address, the country's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, extended a message of hope to those celebrating.
Ми будемо відзначати свої свята, як завжди. Ми будемо посміхатись і радіти, як завжди. Відмінність одна – ми не будемо чекати дива, адже творимо його самі.
On the front lines, too, soldiers celebrated this holiday with a new kind of family.
Україна досить довгий час боролася і за те, щоб святкувати саме 25-го числа. І навіть дуже багато було про це розмов. І все ж таки от в цьому році більшість населення, мені відомо, що 60% проголосувало за те, щоб святкувати саме 25-го. Це визначна подія для всієї України.
Це свято святкується в родині, але так сталося, що основна родина зараз – це наше військо. І все ж таки в непростий час вдається привітати свою родину, своїх рідних. Тому цей вогонь ми пронесемо до бойових позицій, до своїх товаришів, до своїх воїнів.
For Ukrainians, this year's Christmas has been the first celebrated in a state of war. Many are hoping these conditions will not be repeated this time next year. Ryan Hill-Kilpatrick for TaiwanPlus.
At least 30 people are dead after a severe winter storm engulfed large parts of the United States. Weather forecasters are calling it a, quote, bomb cyclone. Some places have experienced more than a meter of snow and seen temperatures plummet as low as minus 45 degrees Celsius. One of the worst hit areas is Erie County in upstate New York. Officials there say 13 people have died because of the extreme weather. Some were trapped outside in their cars. The historic storm in North America comes as heavy snow continues to bury parts of Japan. Japanese authorities say the conditions have killed at least 17 people. Both countries say the deadly blizzards are expected to continue throughout the week. Taiwan Transport and Storage has unveiled the first electric truck in the Asia-Pacific region, but its parent company, Taiwan Cement Corporation, is one of the country's biggest carbon emitters. Is the new vehicle likely to move the needle in Taiwan's push for net zero emissions by 2050? Salen Jensen investigates.
Riding into the future. This is the Asia-Pacific region's first green lorry, an electric heavy goods vehicle set to hit Taiwan's roads in 2023. At least that's what Taiwan Transport and Storage, or TTS, has in mind with its new purchase from Sweden-based company Scania.
We have many global companies, of course, who have experienced the electric vehicles already in Europe, and now that they hear that we are also launching it in Taiwan, they have been contacting us. So I think we will see a good development.
TTS claims one green cargo truck will emit 52 tons less planet-warming carbon dioxide per year than a diesel counterpart. It is part of parent company Taiwan Cement Corporation's drive towards carbon neutrality by 2050.
我们试着结合关系企业台泥储能，为客户打造一条龙的服务。那我想这样子的服务对近邻转型有在努力的企业是非常有吸引力的。
Taiwan Cement has been investing in renewable energy since 2018 and launched the country's first smart energy storage system in 2021. It also signed an international agreement to source all of its electricity from renewables by 2025.
建设7.33 megawatt 太阳能搭配2 megawatt hour 电池容量的储能设备，采自发自用、余电逆送电网的模式。
The cement company is really making an effort to bolster its green credentials. Yet Taiwan Cement still ranks in the country's top 10 big emitters, companies that together account for almost 40% of national greenhouse gas emissions. Its overall emissions have been growing, reaching over 4.6 million metric tons in 2020. The cement industry is responsible for about 8% of global carbon dioxide emissions. If it were a country, it would be third after the US and China. Some say that for energy-intensive industries, tackling supply chain emissions is just the tip of the iceberg.
For Taiwan Cement, we encourage them they should do more, although they already set out kind of like a very comprehensive net zero transition plan compared to other major emitters. But we haven't seen they have kind of like enough capital allocation to identify which kind of manufacturing process they need to be replaced by the low carbon manufacturing process. And moreover, they have to collaborate with the
construction sector trying to lower the demand of the cement. So I think those are the two issues that will be more important than just bring the electric truck online. So I think that will be the major issue that we will focus on, trying to push the Taiwan cement. They can do more on the decarbonization issue.
This big green truck may look good on the highways, but for Taiwan Cement, the road to net zero may not be so smooth. Andy Schreer and Sally Jensen for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's national archery team has claimed numerous victories at a major international event. The team won 5 medals at the 2022 Asian Cup and World Ranking Tournament in Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. The women's team beat Mongolia and Vietnam en route to the gold medal match against South Korea, which they won by a score of 6-2 to claim gold. Taiwan's mixed doubles team also took gold, beating India 5-3 in their final. Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with images of Australia's Bondi Beach, where people celebrated Christmas in swimsuits in the hot summer weather. I'm Leslie Liao. Take care and see you next time.
For more news from Taiwan and around the world, head to TaiwanPlus.com and download the TaiwanPlus app.